Hey guys, Operator Drewski here, and today we're going to be talking about ArmA 3 King of the Hill. I know a lot of you guys really enjoy that game mode. I know it's a very noob-friendly game mode, so a lot of people play it. It is definitely one of the most, or the most played game mode on ArmA 3, so a lot of people have wanted me to do tactics guides on this game mode, and I really do kind of enjoy that idea. So today will be my first kind of tactics guide on should you use the SPAR-16S or the MXSW, and why should you use these type of weapons as well. So first off, let me talk about the MXSW. I'm going to be kind of primarily basing this on that because that gun is my favorite gun for King of the Hill so far, and I'm going to tell you why it's most effective for at least my kind of multi-role fighter type of like loadout. So I pretty much hook myself up with an MXSW, simple RCO, ARCO, ERCO, doesn't really matter what scope, as long as it's a 4X with a secondary red dot sight, it's good. And then I hook an RPG-42 on back, and a lot of people say, why don't you just get an LMG? Why don't you get an MMG? Why don't you get a sniper? Well, with those, you can't really hold an RPG-42 on your back and still have stamina to run around. I like to be a person who can go into buildings and spray at snipers who have bolt-action rifles, and they can't do anything about it because I have a fully automatic gun and a 100-round mag with the MXSW. And that is one of the most effective ways of playing, I think, because you can really do well if you just kind of go up some towers and go down towers if there's nobody there, go to another tower, go up the tower. You might be able to flank an entire squad in a tower if they aren't paying attention. And sometimes a single flank, if you just suicide run up towers, a single flank can really change the entire game, because that tower might be controlling that entire area of the map, and if you control that tower, or as long as you stop them from controlling that tower, you can stop them from controlling the entire eastern or northern or western side of the map. And that is a very effective method of playing the game and winning for your team, and really assisting your team out whenever they're being sniped from that tower or anything like that. So I try to play as that type of guy who runs into towers, takes people out, runs back down, and gets out of the tower as fast as possible, because those are pretty much death traps. So why do you carry an RPG? Well, if you've seen my RPG Master video, you can get a lot of kills and a lot of experience or money or whatever by shooting up helicopters, shooting up MRAPs that are driving into the objectives. Primarily with this video, I'm talking about infantry-based servers, but you can also apply this easily to the combined arms, like the full servers or whatever. I usually put on infantry because I feel it's a little bit less cluster-effy. But if you play on these infantry servers, all you're getting at you is MRAPs and helicopters, so you don't need to worry about anything else, and you're pretty much good with RPG-42 because MRAPs and helicopters can all be taken down by 1 or 2 hits with an RPG, and you've got 2 RPGs in your backpack. So if you have the RPG-42, it's the cheapest rocket out there, and it's, in my opinion, one of the best because you can carry so many rockets in your backpack without really taking too much stamina away. And that's why I feel like the MXSW is one of the best rifles, is because with an MMG or a sniper rifle, you wouldn't be able to carry an RPG, and that makes you double the amount of firepower, especially when you see a helicopter, it's landing a distance away. With an MXSW, you're probably going to be only able to take out, let's say, if it's like a Greyhawk, or not Greyhawk, Ghost Hawk. If it's a Ghost Hawk, you'll probably only be able to take out like the pilot, maybe a gunner. But then if you have an RPG, you fire one shot at that Ghost Hawk, it's going to explode and kill 8 people in it. So it's a big difference, especially when you're a person who's just kind of lone wolfing around. You'll see a lot of vehicles driving around the map, and you'll be able to kill them really easily. So that kind of explains my idea about the MXSW with the RPG-42 type of loadout, and that explains why, you know, it's so effective for King of the Hill, is just because you're a really big fighter type of guy. Not a lot of people really choose the auto rifles or the LMGs, MMGs, or anything like that because they want to be snipers. They want to go up in those towers and snipe, but honestly, that's not an effective like gameplay method, because when people come up to your tower and you have a sniper, a bolt-action sniper at that, you're not going to be able to do CQB at all. Sorry, I have rarely ever seen a person hit another person with a M320 LRR in CQB, which is a 50 cal bolt-action rifle. Barely ever seen that happen. ArmA 3's kind of mouse mechanics don't really allow you to do, you know, 360 no scopes or anything, so people aren't going to be effective with bolt action snipers. So, is the SPAR-16S better than the MXSW? Now, I'm going to kind of answer this question by asking another question. What do you really like to do? What do you fire at the most? And what situations are you mostly in? Because there's different situations where the SPAR-16 shines, or the SPAR-16S, sorry, shines, and it doesn't shine. Let me explain the MXSW advantages. more firepower with the 6.5mm. It has a lot more damage. I mean, a 2-shot sometimes kill to the chest if they're damaged or anything. Sometimes 3 shots at distances. But 1 shot to the head, almost at any distance, will kill them. 2 shots to legs will severely injure them or kill them sometimes. It kind of depends on the distance again or the velocity of the bullet. But a lot of damage with the MXSW. You can really get 1 or 2 hits on a person and kill them. I've seen a lot of times where I'm like, wow, that was extremely fast time to kill. I started spraying at him a second ago and now he's dead. You know, it's just that fast. Now, the MXSW does have a 100 round mag, which is definitely an advantage over rifles. But if you're laying down suppressive fire or you were just spraying into a squad of people, that 100 round mag might run out. And with the SPAR-16S, you get 150 rounds in your mag. And I think you get 3 mags in total for both guns, so you get like a 450 bullets for the SPAR-16 rather than 300 bullets for the MXSW. But I feel like that ratio of ammo amount kind of is the same ratio of damage per bullet. You know what I mean? So you have 300 really powerful rounds, but you have 450 lesser powerful rounds. You know what I mean? And the SPAR-16 also makes up for that in its rate of fire being higher than the MXSW and its recoil being lower than the MXSW because it is a smaller bullet. Now, the problem is with the smaller bullet is, yes, you can shoot paratroopers easier because they're going to be flying down. The velocity of the 5.56 is slightly higher than the 6.5, so it's easier to hit slightly because of the rate of fire. It's even more easier to hit, a little bit easier to hit actually. I would say a noticeable amount easier to hit people, but I have hit like 3 times into paratroopers from like 100 meters away and they would survive. Like I can guarantee I've fired in with an MX before. I'm like, he would be dead by now if I had an MX in my hand. But with the SPAR-16S, I was not getting kills a lot unless I really was close to somebody and I was able to shoot them directly. Like I was able to full auto into them. I feel like the SPAR-16 has a better kind of playstyle in very, very close quarters rather than MXSW has a more longer range playstyle, because with the SPAR-16S, I was able to walk up behind somebody and I was like, guys, watch this. I'm going to shoot this guy once in the head. I'm just going to walk away. So I walk up behind a player and he was laying down looking the other direction, and I fire once into his head and I instantly turned the opposite direction because I saw the blood. I knew he was going to be dead. Looked away. Just kidding. It did not pierce through his helmet from like 20 feet away. It was a standard NATO combat helmet and it didn't pierce his helmet, and he turns around and shoots me and I saw the blood. Like I knew that I shot him, and that just shows like the damage, which is unrealistic in ArmA, to be honest. A 5.56 would pierce through any helmet ever at that range, but in ArmA at least the damage just didn't do it enough for me to shoot that guy. I mean, he was seriously right there. He was the distance from me to that wall over there, and which you guys can't see. It's like 5 feet, 10 feet. But this guy was right there, and I couldn't kill him. And that shows the weakness of the SPAR-16 is that those long distance shots where you see someone's head and you're like, I want to shoot that. If I fired a single shot at that, sometimes it would like just hit the person, but it wouldn't hit the like perfectly in the face or something, so it wouldn't kill them. I don't really understand how. But something like an MXSW has the accuracy and that firepower to be able to reach out a lot farther to targets. Like ranging with the MXSW is much higher than the SPAR-16S. Let me just say that. The SPAR-16, the best way to use it if you are planning to use the SPAR-16S is to fire full auto bursts at longer ranges, because to be honest, the recoil isn't that bad, and that's all you're really going to be scared about. And there's no like bullet spread like other games like Battlefield. So if you spray your gun, there's no magical bullet spread that happens after you keep spraying. There's just recoil like real life. So your bullet spread won't actually happen. You can spray at somebody, spray, and as long as you're actually aiming down the barrel, that bullet spread won't happen. So if they're at a range, just know that you don't want a single shot with the SPAR-16S because it just doesn't have enough damage. Its recoil is low enough that you can do controlled full auto bursts at somebody at long ranges and really do a good job. Now, when I really do compare the SPAR-16S and the MXSW together, I've got to say the MXSW still wins. It is a very sad loss for the newer Apex DLC or Apex expansion SPAR-16S, but it just does not have the firepower, that single shot damage of the MXSW 6.5mm, that it just can't deliver damage enough, fast enough for most situations. I was in situations where I would get into a CQB firefight, And honestly, in those CQB firefights, it's so confusing. The FPS just kind of stutters really weird whenever you get hit or something. So it's just such a, it's so confusing when you're in a close quarters firefight, to be honest, in ArmA. There's no tactics you use. You just spray with one of those guns. So, I mean, you're going to be spraying, you're going to be accidentally hitting their legs and hitting their arms and stuff. With the SPAR-16, you barely do any damage if you hit someone in the legs or arms. If they have a, you know, LMG with a 6.5 or 7.62, they're going to take you down much, much faster. So let me just say, in any close quarters firefight, to be honest, I'm more comfortable with MXSW. But I can see, if someone was able to control the recoil a lot, I can see how the faster rate of fire of the SPAR-16S would be better for hitting moving targets at medium to close ranges, even longer distances. But I still feel like these MXSW wins in the long run just because it does have that multi-role capability that is best about that type of loadout. You know, running around and clearing towers does require CQB use, but it also requires some long distance use once you get to the top of that tower and you have to defend it for at least a minute or two. You know, taking long shots with just an RCO scope really is effective with the MXSW because you do have that 6.5 and a slightly longer barrel than the standard MX rifle, so you're doing a lot of damage and you have a lot of accuracy with the MXSW. But, you know, with the SPAR-16S, you just don't get that same amount of damage, and therefore it really does fall off in terms of effectiveness at any range, even close quarters sometimes. So guys, that was my pretty short guide of the SPAR-16 versus the MXSW. If you enjoyed this kind of King of the Hill guide for ArmA 3, leave a like or comment in the comment section down below, and I will make sure to make another guide for you guys in the future for King of the Hill in ArmA 3. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Oh, hello, boy! You made it! No, this can't happen. No! Yeah, get him, buddy! Contact, man! 20! Oh my god! It's going down! Oh,